Well, hi everyone, and welcome again to Davison Orchards and our family farm. And I'm Tom Davison, and I'm really happy to welcome you back to our orchard and give you a bit of a crop update and what's happening for these next few summer months. And one of the last times that I did a video was back in late March. And at that time, we were really wondering the severity of the winter damage because we had those really cold temperatures in January. And so at that time, we were very concerned about our peach trees. So I thought I would just start right here in the peaches and just allow you to see what's going on. So what we did, it was obvious early on that the buds, the fruit buds, were frozen. Our temperatures here for 2 nights were -31 in the middle of January, which is just way too cold for peaches and apricots and even pears and cherries. So anyway, the peach trees, we came in and we pruned them back very, very heavy. We probably cut off more than 75% of the tree because we knew there was damage in the wood. And so the roots were trying to push, but it was, the trees were really, really hurt. So by cutting them back hard, and you can see even in here, there's an example of where we cut the shoot back in March. And since that time, the tree has really responded very well. Like I wondered, the wood was so brown when we cut it, you could see the damage was there. I wondered if they would recover. But since we cut them back, they've just been shooting out like crazy. The leaves are really nice and dark green. And so, you know, the bad news is, yeah, there is absolutely no peaches on our peach trees. They are a complete crop failure. But the tree itself is recovering really, really nicely. And that certainly wasn't a for sure thing. So anyway, we're really, really happy. We've been doing some leaf feeding with some products that are made from seaweed, anything to kind of perk the tree up because we know it has had a lot of damage from those winter temperatures. So Davison Orchards is pretty well known for apples. That's kind of what we've always done and what we're fairly famous for. But besides apples, we do grow a lot of different vegetable crops. In fact, there's about 70 acres of tree fruits and another 60 or 70 acres of vegetable crops. And you know, besides the tomatoes that I'm obviously standing in, we grow a lot of sweet corn, a lot of melons like cantaloupe and watermelon. It's the amazing thing about the North Okanagan. There's so many crops you can grow. If you've been to our farm in the fall, you know pumpkins is a big deal. So we grow acres and acres of pumpkins. You can see a small patch over here to my left. That's going to be for pick your own. And you can see even in the tomatoes, things are moving along. Now you have to realize we've had a very cold and wet May and June to this point. And so the crops are actually behind where they would have been a year ago in terms of their growth and so on. But if you look at these tomatoes, you can see there's lots of flowers in here now. So the plants are very healthy. Sometimes I think I'm just in the flower growing business because all of our crops start with flowers. Before you can have apples or pears or tomatoes or cantaloupe or even pumpkins, you start with a flower. And you'll probably notice that there's kind of a black plastic mulch. This is a biodegradable mulch that helps to hold the moisture in, because if you go underneath this plastic mulch somewhere, I hope I can find a water line. So there's a trickle irrigation line, there it is. So underneath the plastic mulch, when we lay the plastic, we put down this trickle irrigation line, and that is a super efficient way of watering the plants. They actually don't like water on their leaves from sprinklers. So this way we can monitor the soil moisture, and you can see the soil is nice and moist under this plastic right at their roots. Super efficient, and the plastic holds the moisture in, no evaporation. And the great thing about the plastic is it also keeps the weeds away. So around our plants, there's no weed competition for this crop. Now, you know, I said we had a cold, wet May and June. And when you have a cold, wet period like this, you get a lot of weed growth. So normally if we had some warm, dry weather, in between the rows, there's no moisture, and so there's very little weed growth. But oh my, this year with the endless showers and colder temperatures, the weeds are doing fabulous. So you can see that there's a lot of weeds, and it's one of the big jobs of our summer is that we have to go in and control these weeds between the rows of plastic. And like I say, some years it's hardly anything to do. A year like this, we're gonna have a lot of guys with hose trying to keep ahead of the weeds that are wanting to grow up in between our rows.